Hello and welcome to another wobbly camera guide video. In this video we're going to be looking at another Russian transistor radio. If you've seen my previous video, I did one of a Russian transistor radio from the early 1980s. This one's a little bit early, it's from 1976-77. It is a Vega 405 and I think it's also referred to as a Selga as well. This is one that I picked up from a boot fair again several years ago. I think I paid it up once and then it's just sat on my garage, so I thought it would be better time to have a look at it. It's got this leather case on it which is really protected, I think, and the actual case itself is still, you know, pretty much sort of functional there. I don't know if you can see on the back, it's got the medium wave and long wave switch that pokes through the leather, but it's actually both in English and in Russian, so clearly this has been made for the export market, and again in English it's actually got made in the USSR stamped on the back of the actual hide, so clearly made for English speaking markets, not just England but I guess other markets besides Russia itself. So quick look, as I say, it's got a leather covering over it, or leather case I should say. I'll click this out, and these are actually very well made. I mean, this is a thick leather, this is not the thin stuff that you would get perhaps some other makes. I think they really went to town with this, and it is a snug fit. If I can squeeze it out, I'll just pop that there for 1 second. Perhaps just have a look at this first. So as you can see, it's a Vega, medium wave, long wave. Not the prettiest of sets, and to be honest, Russian sets I'm starting to find out they're either very pretty or they're very functional. I think this actually comes into the latter, but no problem. We've got tuning and on off and volume on the side. Sorry if you can see that there, I'm whizzing this around. Medium wave, long wave, as I said, earphone jack, and this is the battery compartment to the back. I have no idea if this actually works or not, so I have actually got some batteries, and I think this actually takes some AA batteries, and I've got to move that down without breaking it. It's got a very unusual cover. As you can see, it's actually got a compartment for 6 AA batteries. I hope that clip works alright. But it actually uses a PB3 clip, and then this rather little nutty holder. You can see we've got some crud in there, but what I'm actually going to do, I'm just going to actually just try some batteries and see if it physically works. If it does, then we'll start having a look at just cleaning that out and see if we can get a little bit more tidy, a little bit more functional. So I've got some fresh batteries, see if we can actually pop these in and see if it'll actually work. It may not do, and if it doesn't, first thing I'm going to try is cleaning out that battery compartment, and if I could see which way around it went, that'd be even better, wouldn't it? Let me try it that way. I hope I'm going to got the correct way around. So these connections do feel a little bit loose, so but we'll give them a whirl and we'll just see if that will actually get something out of it. I'll leave the back cover off, pop that in, spin it around, see what we've got. We have got a dead set, but I think it might be the fact that that battery compartment is rather cruddied up. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take these out and I'm going to give these a clean. Okay, so what I'm going to use on this is just simply some white vinegar, just some white vinegar, you can see there. That usually does the trick. I'm just going to get a good spray. As he sprays his radio as well, that was really clever, wasn't it? We'll just wipe that off. Let's just get, if you can see in there, just get some of that green gunge off. Tops are not too bad. Outside not too bad there, but I'll give it a good scrub with my really old paintbrush. That's getting some of it off. What I'm going to try is the trusted method of also getting a screwdriver to get some off. I hope you can see this, difficult to do, and then also look that you've actually got the camera in the right place. So excuse me if you can't always get a good view, but that's coming off. Okay, so that side's not too bad, and the tops are not too bad. Let me get a cloth and just dry this down a little bit. They're not too bad. Okay, what I might do, as you can see, still got a little bit of green there. I'm just going to get another squirt, and then I might just leave that just for a few seconds, just for it to actually sort of soak in. Although it is actually going. Let's try the old. Nearly there. Okay, so again, let's just clean that off with a cloth. This has probably been never touched for many years, so I'm not surprised it didn't do anything when we first paired up. It would have been pretty darn good if it did. Okay, so what I'm also going to do is give the tops a little squirt, a little agitate. See that? And then what I am going to do also is just tighten up the connection a little bit, because I did notice it felt a little loose, so just a little smidge. See that was there. And then also what I'm going to do the same on the little connector inside the radio. Again, these can wear a little bit, so let's just see if we can get as good a connection as we can without overdoing it. Okay, let's get the cleaner off my hands and off the radio. This is all going to get cleaned up afterwards. Again, as I say, this has been sitting in my garage for years, so it is all a bit kind of fresh. Let's just get that, all that moisture out of there. Tell you what, I'll come back in a few minutes. So I'm going to let this dry off first, and then we'll give it a whirl. Okay, so this is dried off now, and what I've actually done as well, I've just bent up the little tabs a little bit just to get a stronger connection. So I'm hoping that with a bit of a clean and a little bit of fettling, that we might get something out of it. Like I say, I haven't touched this in years, so just get these batteries round the right way, because they're not marked brilliantly, but I think that's correct. Okay, again, I'm just going to pop that in just temporarily. They still are not the best fit in the world. Let me just tighten those up a little bit again, if you can see what I'm doing there. These are not the best connections in the world, but is that going to go on? There we go, that's a better connection. It says, let's get that in, turn it round, and see if we've got anything. Ooh.
For
yay!
2020. So she'll know that, you know, in San
How about that? Just some little bloody cruddy battery connections, if I can get my words out today. And we seem to be.
And she'll know, like, this is like a real dry run
action.
for and you sometimes you learn more from your mistakes.
Okay, what I am going to do though, I'm going to open it up, because this volume switch, you can see it's very wobbly, so clearly something has come adrift inside, so I'm just going to open it up and see what we can find. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take the back cover off, primarily because that volume switch feels very loose. I want to find out what's going on there, and it looks like, from what I can tell, to actually take the back off, we've got 2 screws. There's one inside the battery compartment, and there's one on the left hand side there. Looks like there may have been another one wanted at the top, but it's been long gone. And there's a hole there, but there's no thread, so I don't think it's ever underscrewing it. So anyway, let's take these screws off. If I can actually see what I'm doing. The screwdriver's a bit on the big side, but it'll do. So we'll unscrew him first. Let's put him to one side so we don't lose him, and we'll take that off. Oh, he wants to stay in, that's fair enough. So let's have a look what we've got. Oop. That little battery clip, it looks like it goes through. Oh, yeah, the knobs come completely off. Let's just get that battery clip through. Oh, God, oh crikey, they don't give me much in the way of free cables, do they? So, what have we got? Well, this is the volume, and that does feel a little bit loose, but this is clearly the knob, dial, whatever you want to call it. And you can see there we've got a little sort of slot, if you can see that, and there's a little peg on that side there, which the two should go together. But that is a loose fit. Oh, crikey, it is. That's going to come off again. That is quite a compact radio. It's a shame they just don't give a little bit more cable, but not to worry. What I am going to do is I am going to apply some hot melt glue to the top of that little potentiometer and pop the actual sort of little dial back on. I don't want to use super glue. The simple reason is once that's on, it's never going to come off. But if I use hot melt, although it glues and holds it in place, you can eventually get it off if you wanted to replace that sort of resistor. So rather than it being the final thing, I'm going to get my gun, pop it on, and see what we can do with it. But what I might do as well, because yeah, that's just relying upon the framework, and it's very difficult to show. As you can see there, it's actually got 2 little metal legs that obviously are not supported at the front, so it does tend to want to move down a little bit. So it's not the best one in the world, but let me go and get my gun and see what we can do and see if we can make this a better function in volume control. Okay, so just while I wait for the glue gun to warm up, I've noticed that the volume switch, obviously it's got its on-off switch. I'm not sure if you can actually see that with my big fingers in the way, but can you see that little movement there? That's the obviously making and breaking the power to the radio when you switch it on and off, and you can see it's as black as the ace of spades. So whilst I just wait for that glue gun, I'm just going to try just a little bit of cleaner on it, and again getting, that might not work. No, it's not going to work, is it? Let's put a bit more cleaner on without flooding everywhere. And I'm just going to get a little bit of a cloth on the end of a screwdriver to get a little bit more purchase. That's worked off there. I don't know if you can see that. Probably very difficult for you to see. Okay, the question is, can we do that on the switch part? I'm trying to do this with about 10 pair of hands, so bear with me. However, pop a little bit in there. Let's see if I can try and get the corner of a cloth in. Just to, you won't be able to see what I'm doing here, but let me just see if I can get in there. It is so tricky. I don't think that can. However, there is an old little trick you can use, which is trying to use a tiny little bit of sandpaper, for which, whether or not I can get this to get in the house, I don't know. This is going to be fun. Yep. You probably can't see a thing, but there we go. I am literally just trying to use some fine sandpaper just to get that oxidized crud off the switch, which it's kind of doing. Yeah, it is doing it. It's bloody awkward. Tell you what, let's just try a little bit more power wash and just the end of the screwdriver, which is probably going to be as good as anything else. Can you see that all? Okay. That's not perfect, but it's better than it was. So, yeah, can you see that? I'm hoping that'll just make it a little bit more functional. Okay, back to the task in question, which is fixing the knob back onto there. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just put the glue actually on the knob itself. So I'm just going to try and make this just a little bit and just on the surfaces. I don't want to put actually too much. There's a little bit awkward, these guns, because they're either all or nothing. There we go. No, that's plenty. So get the stringy bits always out of the way. So let's see if this will actually go on. Okay. So it's on. It still feels a bit wobbly, but I think that's the actual resistor itself, which I can't do an awful lot about, but I'll let that go off for a few moments and then we can see what else we can do before we reassemble it and give her a little bit of a clean. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is just a bit of crud inside the case. I thought while it's apart we may as well get that done. I've got some, does help if you can see, doesn't it? Some air out dust that. This is just like compressed air really, but oops. This cleans some of it out. And then I'll get a trusty brush in here. And then hopefully the odd little bits that accrue inside. This probably hasn't been apart for a long time. It always amazes me how compact these are. Manufacturing these must have been really fiddly for the, I guess, the women on the assembly line. It tends to be women who would assemble these, I would have thought. So I'll take my hat off to them. That's a real fiddly job to do. I did notice as well, it is apart. I don't know if you can see, but we've got the battery connections there, the cables are black and white, but they also go back to two little pins on the rear, and actually, turn it round, it looks like you've got a small 2-pin connector for an external supply. Something I hadn't noticed before actually, but it's obviously a purpose done for that, but it looks like it's taken an auxiliary supply, so they're actually quite well made, these are. As I found on the previous video, I was doing another radio, as I say, from like the early 80s, another Russian one. They actually do put a lot of thought into it, even though when you look on the outside they do look very industrial. I guess that's the best expression to use on these. So, but they are, they're actually quite sort of well thought out. Still a bit of crud in the back there. What I am going to do, is just put a little bit of the switch cleaner on that volume control. It's like a skeleton volume control. If we can get into there, because that's so difficult to get in. Just to take away any scratchiness and noise that we would get on there. I would also look at doing it with the sliding switch with the wave change. You can see there's so many wafers there, but one, it's enclosed, and two, this seems to be quite fixed on, and what I don't want to do is break it, and they seem to be working alright, so I will just leave that for now. I mean, if I get problems I can always have a look at doing that. So what I'm now going to do is attempt to reassemble this. So I need to put the battery clip in first, and then somehow slide the case over that volume control, and then, if you can see, that aerial is a snug fit in the case. Is that going to go? Yes, we're in. We are in. Right, so time to put the screws back. Tiny little filly things. Let's pop him in. I'm sorry you can't see this, but the only way I'm going to do this is to do it so it's vertical. It's a screwdriver, and in we go. Oops. Head on this screw is not the best. I'll tell you what, let's use a smaller driver, so that can help. Yep. Okay, one more turn, and then we'll do him in there, and that little cruddy hole. Okay, so we're back in. So before we do anything else, let's see if we can pop him on and make sure that it still works. These are not the best clips. Go on. I think the way it slides in though. Okay, so no action, but there we go.
Penalty by Mark Furlong on 26 minutes. This after 6 Dermot O'Keefe points.
On the last, sort of 20-25 minutes.
All that noise you can hear off station is actually off the lighting I've got on here. It's obviously utilising just wall warts or a little power splice, and they give off so much noise it just blasts its way across sort of medium wave and long wave. So it's not the fault of the radio, I don't think. I think it is literally just the actual sort of the power supplies being noisy and cheap. So what I need to do now is give this girl a bit of a clean up. And put the compartment back on. That is one nutty way of doing a battery compartment cover. I have never seen anything like that. You'd think that'd be prone to breakage, but it seems to have survived. So either this hasn't had an awful lot of use, or it is actually better than what it looks. Anyway, it's clean up time, so I'm just going to get some foam cleaner. It's pretty mild stuff this is, so I'm just going to get on the back first of all, and I'm going to use an old tough brush just to scrub in, getting those little areas. Don't smother it in this stuff, but it's the best just to get all the crud off where your fingers go and pick up in handling it. So let's get a cloth and wipe that off. And then we're going to do the same. You can see the crud look, if you can see that. It ain't had not much love for a while, and I noticed there's some in that little slot, so get the gunk out. There we go. Yucky stuff. Come on, get in there. make it a little bit more presentable, and then we'll do the same on the side. Not going to go too mad with it. So again, just get off, especially where your thumb goes. And all, you can't see, can you? Just help if you get it correctly. Just as I say, where all the dirt accumulates on the edge, you never know what it is. Okay, because they can get quite okay. It's difficult to do in front of the camera, sorry if you can't see that, but I think you get the idea what I'm doing. So I'll do the same now on the rest of it. Give the old grill a bit of a scrub as well. Incidentally, I did a quick look on the internet on these, and I found that as well as in black as what I've got here, I think they actually did them in red and in green. I think they also did black with like a bronze grill as well, so I just wanted two variations. And I think I've got vague memories that these Russian radios, not these but all sorts, were actually imported into the UK by a store in Birmingham in the 60s and 70s. I think there was like one main sort of importer that did all the different ones, and they tended to be just a little bit cheaper than your Sanyos and your Panasonics and all the Fergusons and things that you had at that decade. Okay, sometimes they're a little bit function over form, they're not, as you say, the most prettiest of things, but they do a job. And I'm going to say, but we're getting a little bit better there. Starting to get a bit cleaner. What I do, I tend to use some dashboard trim, because this is plastic at the end of the day, so it should respond to same thing. Don't want to get it a shine, you just want to just get it clean really. So I'm just going to use just a little bit. It's easy just to pour this out on a cloth, but again, I mean, you can experiment with all sorts of cleaning products really, but just be careful, some of them can be a bit aggressive, and I know that these are done specifically for plastic, so and then I'm just going to get a soft cloth and just buff it up. There we go. Looking a bit cleaner and a bit smarter, which is all we're trying to do at the end of the day. So, also, I've recalled our leather cover. I mean, it is thinking thick leather. Again, what I would tend to use with this, just a bit of dust off the top there. What you can use is just some, oops, you can see I've just paint right out, some leather cleaner, stuff that you'd use like on your settee or whatnot. I ain't going to do all of it because you don't watch me do that, but I'll just do a little bit on the leather on the top. Put a little bit out as it squeezes everywhere. Let's move him up there. But just to give you an idea, again, you can see if you can see the crud coming off that, but it is, like I say, it hasn't been used for a long time, but you get the general idea. And then again, quick rub, and once that's dried off, it just makes it just a little bit more presentable. So I'll put that to one side. So there we have it, your Vega 405, as I say, from around 96-97, cleaned up with the volume now a bit more stable.
Shutdown period has been amazing. We also completed our new National Development Plan during that stage, and that's getting ready for launch. So,
let's turn that off so you can actually hear my voice. Just drying off. But overall, a pleasant little radio, which I'm now going to give it some use, and exactly what it's designed for, isn't it really? So yeah, there we go. Medium wave, long wave, Vega 405 from around at 1976-77. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next time.